Okay, we have Alabama, the advancing team. Up here on the podium, we have head coach Nate Oates, we have Mark Sears, we have Aiden Holloway, and we have Chris Youngblood. Alabama moves on to Saturday's Elite Eight game on Saturday. That will be at a time to be determined. We're going to open it with an opening statement from Coach Oates. Then we will go to questions for the student athletes. We'll dismiss them and then take questions for Coach. So, Coach, if you want to start with an opening statement.
I mean, that was a fun game. If you like offense, that was fun for the fans, I'm sure, at least for the Alabama fans. And listen, I got to teach these guys some math occasionally. I told Sears there's a thing called regression to the mean. His last 6 games, he was shooting 14%, 5 of 35. He's not a 14% shooter, obviously. They had been going under ball screens on just about every game we watched. I told both those guys, Holloway and seriously, man, I hope they go under us, because we're going to rain them. So we were in the gym last night, the night before, but these guys show up for voluntary shooting every time it's available to make sure that they're ready to go and that work pays off. We want to base our program on hard work. So told Mark he's playing chess, not checkers. He just kind of set everybody up with that 5 of 35, thinking he was in a slump and he's going to come out, shoot like 63%, ain't bad. So 10 threes, I think first guy in NCAA tournament history, I was told, that had at least 8 threes and 7 assists. So, not only was he scoring it, he was moving it. Helps to get assists when you got guys like CY and Aiden Holloway making shots like they did too. So between these 3 guys, we had 21 threes. It's, we've hit 22 before a couple times, I think maybe 23. We've never hit 25. So, and BYU, with their personnel, we knew that they started going under, but they always collapse. I mean, they kind of have to, and they kind of got away with it against some teams that don't space like we do. But I told these guys going in, if you'll move the ball, we end up with 27 assists. I'm not sure where that ranks in tournament history, but if you'll move the ball, our offense is designed to beat a defense like this. So they're heavy in the gaps, they overhelp, and we did. So now they're a really good offensive team too. Everybody questioned whether we had defense to win. For some reason, nobody was talking about our offense though. Like, I've gotten to know Mike D'Antoni a little bit. He made the point, like, your offense only has to be, one point in the efficiency better than your defense to win the game. Now, we were trying to get stops, and I thought we did a pretty good job. They went on a run. I remember Sears got a steal. When they started to make a run there in the second half, it's a big play. We got a bunch of old boards, our second chance points. I thought we hit some threes off that. We gave them too many second chance, but we did hit some threes off it. So, it was good. We were able to rest some guy. Our top minute guy was Sears with just over 30, and then, nobody else. CY and Grant, 27 and 25. So, whoever we play, we were able to get these guys a little bit more rest than normal. So, proud of our guys. We're in the Elite Eight for the 3rd time in school history and back-to-back. So, Sears has been in the middle of it. These 2 guys came to play with them, and they're unbelievable backcourt together. I thought LeBaron did a good job, moving the ball tonight too. He went 2 or 3 himself. He ended up with 6 assists. So, I thought everybody played well in their roles tonight.
Start with questions for the student athletes. Raise your hand, we'll get a microphone, give name and affiliation before asking your question. We'll start here in the front row. On this side.
Jackson Shanks, Seton Hall Center for Sport Media. Aiden, we talked yesterday about how you've matured through the tournament. Last year with Auburn, a first-round exit. This year, you hadn't really had the game that put you on the map. And today, whenever Mark went out in that second half, it almost like it lit a fire under you, and you were able to answer each BYU 3 with your own. What about tonight made you so successful and allowed you to perform at that level?
My teammates just found me, honestly. That's all I'll say about that. It was just a good game. My teammates found me, and I just tried to not focus on shot making and focus on everything else, and shot making ended up, working out a little bit. So just shout out to my teammates for finding me all game.
We're going to come to this side in row 2.
Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post. This is for Mark. Did you feel, is it possible to feel a game like this coming for you? And what is the feeling like when they're just going down like that?
Honest, like Coach said, we've been working all week to prepare for to get our shot right, and it just the matter of preparation we put in, it led to the success we had tonight.
We're going to come to the front row in the middle.
Mark, or for any of the guys, but we'll start with Mark since you had the biggest night. When Coach says, "Hey, regression to the mean," hey, they're playing you, how much do you believe it? How much do you expect it, I guess, is the better word.
Yeah, even though when I was shooting 14%, my confidence was still high. I never stopped doubting myself and stopped believing in myself. And my teammates also, they kept encouraging me to keep shooting and keep shooting and keep shooting. And that's just show trust in them that even though when I'm not at my highest peak, that they still trust me and want me to shoot the ball. So, it's a big shout out to them. And, just they went under the ball screen, and I was able to get my rhythm early.
Chris, you also want to answer that question?
To be honest with you, before y'all talking about 14%, I had no idea who was shooting 14% because I never really paid attention to it. Mark's an incredible player, so all I know is when he gets the ball, the defense is collapsing on him, so it don't even feel like he's shooting 14%. But regardless if he is or not, his gravity that he has on defense is, something I never played with before. So, yeah, you don't really realize he's shooting 14%.
Next two questions are right in front of me, row 3.
Guys, congratulations. Drew Wolin with NBA Draft Net. So I checked, this question's for anybody. I checked the stat sheet at halftime. 80% of field goal attempts were from 3. You guys slowed down a little bit in the second half. You finished the game, 77% of your field goal attempts were from 3. I went through your schedule, usually about a little less than half. Sometimes you go over half, like a couple more shots. What went into that tonight? Was 77% of your field goal attempts were coming from 3?
Why don't we start with Aiden, and then we'll go to Chris.
I would say just for these two guys next to me, an open 3 is kind of a layup. So we're happy with 77% of our shots coming from 3 today. So,
like Coach said to start off, the way they play defense, they're in the gaps heavy, and then if we have proper spacing, and if we don't take one dribble too much, or we're playing selfish, ready to move the ball, we're capable of having 80%, 77% percentage of our shots being 3s. So that's pretty simple.
Stay in that same row.
Matt Norlander, CBS Sports. Mark, this is for you, right here in front of you. I want to dig a little bit deeper. You made 10 three-pointers tonight. That's one shy of the NCAA tournament record. Could you just take us into what it feels like to play that well against a team that good on a stage this big? Are you physically conscious of what is happening as it continues to progress? Because it looked like you were in a zone and knew they were there for the killing.
Yeah, like you said, I was just in the zone. Once I seen the first 3 fall in, I felt like the basket was like big as an ocean, and every time I shot, I felt like it was going in. So yeah, I just lost myself in the game, and just let everything else happen.
All right, we'll go one row back in row 4.
Hi, Garrett Lash with Mid-Major Madness. This one's for Chris. Chris, obviously, you got a great coach up here with you. You played 4 years before that under Coach Amir Abdur-Rahim, obviously. I know this might be an emotional question, but what did he do to prepare you for this season, for this moment? Do you think about him when you're out there playing?
Probably the most important thing that I think about probably every practice, every game is, playing selfless. Not really, because but previous 4 years, I was the main guy. So I got talented players like Biz and Mark beside me. So really, just being an ultimate team player, just not really worried about myself, playing within the flow of the game, and just losing yourself within the game, within the team. I might end up with 19 points, might end up with 5 points, but as long as you get a win, I'm considered a winner.
We'll take one more question for the student athletes over here, Hoops, on this side.
Coach, everybody talks about three-pointers made, but could you talk about your three-point defense?
Yeah, we try to play analytically sound on both sides of the ball. So free throws number 1, at the rims number 2, obviously uncontested at the rims as much as possible, and then kick out threes. And then on the other side of the ball, we're trying to not put them to the free throw line, So, we didn't do a great job of that, in my opinion. They got 20 free throws. We were fouling too much, particularly in the second half. We tried to take away the three. They ended up getting 30 off, which is too many. We were trying not to let them get that off, but I did think we contested enough. I mean, they didn't shoot it great. They were 6 of 30, and then obviously we're not trying to give up shots at the rim. So, our defense is designed not to give up threes. Sometimes we do a good job at it, sometimes we don't. But we tried to guard all their pick and rolls with just 2 guys. We saw some other teams always pulling a third guy in, and Demmon's so good, 6'8" point guard, catching that. We were trying not to give those up. We didn't want to give up any transition threes, and then obviously not trying to give up penetrate, overhelp, kick. I remember we gave up one of those in the second half. And we gave up a transition one back-to-back. Wasn't real happy with that. So, but, yeah, we don't want to give up threes. So our defense did a fairly decent job at times with it, but not to the level we need to. But, yeah, we try to play analytically sound basketball on both sides of the ball.
We'll excuse the student athletes at this time. Appreciate you guys. We will see you tomorrow and Saturday.
Hey, he picked BYU, that one right there. So just so you know.
All right, we'll take questions for Coach. We'll start on this side in the back.
Coach, Adeshina Koike, a lot of sports talk. Congratulations on the win. The record that your team broke for most threes was Loyola Marymount's team in 1990 in the second round against the defending national champion at that time, Michigan. That was one of the most seminal moments in NCAA tournament history, with Jeff Fryer's threes and Bo Kimball shooting left-handed in honor of Hank Gathers. What does it mean to you that this team is now going to be along, the lines of that Loyola Marymount team and has surpassed them? And any memories of that game, knowing that Loyola Marymount, was kind of, intrepid in shooting all those threes that wasn't happening in the NCAA, and now you guys.
I loved watching them play. That was my freshman year in high school that year. I remember Bo Kimball shooting the left-hand free throws in honor of Hank. I loved watching them play. They got up and down. Maybe part of the reason we coach the way we coach. It's a little more fun that way. So I didn't know that they had the record in the tournament. So, I guess it's nice to beat that record. It's interesting. Michigan won it in '89, right? So when before I got into Division I was the head coach at Romulus back in Detroit. Terry Mills from Romulus, and he played on that Michigan team in '89, I believe, and they won it, I believe. So because they won the state championship in '86. We got the only 2 state championships at Romulus. Al Wilkerson coached Terry, and then I coached some pretty good kids in 2013. So it's an interesting history, but I love that Loyola Marymount team. It's nice we were able to win. I do believe that the record for threes made in a game is held by Troy right out of Alabama with 28. We weren't getting to 28 tonight, but 25 is not bad.
We'll stay in the back row. We'll go dead in the middle there with Jeff.
Jeff Borzello, ESPN. Before you took over, Alabama had been to one Sweet 16 in 30 years. Now it's 4-5, and you're playing for the second straight Final Four on Saturday. How do you reflect on just how far the program has come in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when I got the job, we didn't have the transfer portal eligible immediately, the NIL, so it was a little harder to turn it around immediately like you can now. So we had Quinterly, who, by the way, we're in his backyard, which is great. He showed up to practice and has been hanging out with our guys, but he couldn't play. We got him to transfer. He had to sit that year. That was like the last guy who the NCAA wouldn't let play. So, you can't flip your roster like you can now. So we got saved by COVID that year. So we can say that we made the NCAA tournament every time since I've been at Alabama, because I don't think we were making it that year. I've been fortunate to have some really good recruiters on staff to get us some very good players. We were fortunate to walk into some good players. John Petty, all-time leading three-point shooter, was already there. Avery left us some pretty good talent. Herb Jones, who's been a pretty good NBA player. So those guys, Alex Reese was here. Alex hit the big 3 in our second year to send it to overtime in the Sweet 16. So, we kind of turned it in year 2, made the Sweet 16 run, And then the recruiting, Brian Hodgson, Antoine Petway. Now I got Preston Murphy. I've had some of the best recruiters in the country get some really good talent to play the way we want to play. And, I love playing this way. I think players want to play this way. I mean, it was fun. Like BYU plays an NBA system. We had some better talent than them tonight, but, it's a lot more fun way to play basketball, if you will. And, when you play this way and you show everybody, even our first year we played this way, we just didn't have as much talent to do it. And now we've been able to get the talent, and hopefully we continue to get the talent. We keep the resources where we need to and just keep making these runs. I think the Alabama fans like us making deep runs in the NCAA tournament. At least I do.
Got time for one more question. We'll go back here, row 3 with Matt.
Nate, Matt, CBS Sports. What do you and your coaches need to do to best give your team a chance to repeat on Saturday what you did here tonight? Obviously, asking to go 50% from 3 is a tall task. I'm not necessarily asking that, but to repeat it as much as you can with your habits and preparation, is that doable?
Yeah, I mean, we've had plenty of games where we haven't shot it well. I think we've been really focused on making sure we don't overdo practice. Legs are fresh. Minds are fresh while still getting the scouting report in. So, they're supposed to be off their legs. As soon as the media gets out of the locker room, let's get them back to the hotel. Let's get them off their legs. Let's get the recovery started. Tomorrow, it'll just be walk through, and then we got to be ready to go. Now, we've got to keep moving the ball. Obviously, whether it's Duke or Arizona, their defense can be a little different. They got some probably better rim protection and try to build out on us. And we've got to do a good job on the offensive side of the ball, showing them how they can get the threes. But people ask me, how many threes would you like to get off every game? Well, it kind of depends on how they guard us. If they guard us like we knew BYU was going to and stay heavy in the gaps, we'll take 50, 51. If they're going to build out, I mean, we've had games where we've scored 60 plus, multiple games we've scored 50, 60 plus points in the paint too. So, if Duke or Arizona, whoever ends up winning, decides they're not going to give us some threes, that's fine too. Let's get to the rim. Now, the rim protection can be a little different. We got to figure out how to deal with that a little bit because obviously, I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Come on, it's like 9-8 reach. So, the rim protection a little different. We're going to have to do a really good job on the offensive side of the ball. The other thing is our defense is going to have to be really good because they both have very good offenses. So I don't know that we're going to repeat 51 threes attempted, but we can have the guys ready to play the right way, in my opinion, and fresh. And, if we get stops, it's a lot easier to get out in transition. You can get some threes in transition too.
All right, Coach. Thanks. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks.
Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow and Saturday.
Appreciate it.
We'll have BYU in just a second.